Your liver can regenerate itself, but most people are slowly damaging it every single day without realizing it. Fatty liver is an early warning sign of metabolic stress. The good news is that it may change over time depending on lifestyle and metabolic factors. Here are some evidence-based factors that may influence liver health over time. To understand how fatty liver develops, we need to identify one of its primary drivers: excessive intake of added sugars. In particular, sucrose and fructose are strongly associated with disruptions in normal metabolic function. Sucrose, commonly known as table sugar, is broken down into glucose and fructose after consumption. Fructose is especially relevant because it is processed primarily in the liver and interacts differently with the body's regulatory systems. Unlike many other nutrients, fructose may not stimulate leptin as strongly as other nutrients. Based on current evidence, the hormone responsible for signaling fullness, when this signal is reduced, it becomes easier to consume more calories without noticing. Over time, frequent intake of added sugars may contribute to leptin resistance. This can lead to ongoing hunger and reduced satisfaction after meals, even when overall intake is sufficient. Some clinical evidence suggests that short periods of high fructose consumption are associated with increased fat accumulation in the liver and reduced insulin sensitivity. While small amounts of fructose from whole foods have long been part of the human diet, modern consumption of concentrated added sugars may place a greater burden on metabolic health. This is why reducing added sugars, especially from processed foods and sweetened drinks, has been associated with improved metabolic markers in some studies. While reducing sugar intake is an important first step, it is equally important to understand that not all fats affect your body in the same way. The type of fat you consume can significantly influence metabolic health and liver function. Saturated fats, commonly found in red meat, processed foods, butter, and fried items, have been associated with increased fat accumulation in the liver when consumed in excess. In contrast, unsaturated fats appear to have a different metabolic impact. Some controlled human studies suggest that overconsumption of saturated fats may lead to a greater increase in liver fat compared to other macronutrients under similar conditions. In one randomized trial, participants who consumed higher amounts of saturated fat over several weeks showed a noticeable rise in liver fat levels. On the other hand, diets higher in polyunsaturated fats, such as those found in plant oils, have been associated with more favorable body composition changes and less impact on liver fat. For this reason, a practical approach is not to eliminate fat, but to improve its quality. Prioritizing sources like fish, nuts, seeds, and avocados while reducing excessive saturated fat intake may be associated with differences in metabolic outcomes and reduce additional stress on the liver. Building on the shift toward healthier fats, it is equally important to understand how carbohydrates interact with these choices, especially when it comes to natural sugars and whole foods. Not all sources of fructose affect the body in the same way. While added fructose from processed foods has been linked to increased liver fat, fructose from whole fruits appears to behave differently due to the presence of fiber and other nutrients. When you eat whole fruit, its natural fiber slows digestion and reduces the rate at which sugars are absorbed. This helps prevent rapid spikes that may place additional stress on the liver. In addition, whole fruits contain compounds such as vitamin C and various phytonutrients, which may support overall metabolic function when consumed as part of a balanced diet. Because of this structure, small amounts of fructose from whole foods are generally better tolerated compared to concentrated sources. In contrast, fruit juices and dried fruits often contain higher concentrations of sugar with significantly less fiber. This makes it easier to consume large amounts quickly, increasing the overall sugar load reaching the liver. Choosing whole fruits over processed alternatives is a simple, practical step that has been associated with more stable metabolic responses. Liquid sugar is one of the most impactful sources of excess calories in modern diets and is often overlooked in daily habits. While whole fruits provide a slower release of sugar due to their natural fiber content, beverages such as sodas, soft drinks, and even some fruit juices can deliver large amounts of sugar within a very short time. This difference in absorption significantly changes how your body processes these sugars. These products are frequently marketed as natural or healthy, but without the original fiber structure, they are much easier to consume in excess without creating a sense of fullness. This can lead to a rapid increase in sugar intake and place additional metabolic stress on the liver over time. Other common contributors include sports drinks and energy drinks, which may contain significant amounts of added sugars despite their performance-focused branding and widespread use. Health organizations such as the American Heart Association recommend limiting daily sugar intake. Yet a single serving of these beverages can approach or exceed these suggested levels. For individuals concerned about fatty liver, higher intake of sugar-sweetened beverages has been associated with increased metabolic stress. Choosing water or unsweetened alternatives can help lower overall sugar intake and support more stable metabolic function over time. Moving beyond the reduction of liquid sugars, it is equally important to focus on proactive dietary strategies that help stabilize your metabolism from the beginning of the day. One practical approach is to increase protein intake, particularly during your first meal. Some research suggests that consuming adequate protein early in the day may influence appetite regulation and subsequent food choices. Including around 25 to 35 grams of protein in a meal can help support satiety and reduce the likelihood of overeating later. This effect is partly related to how protein interacts with hormones involved in hunger and fullness. As a result, individuals may find it easier to reduce intake of highly processed foods and sugary snacks throughout the day. This can be especially helpful for those who struggle with frequent cravings or inconsistent eating patterns. In addition to appetite control, higher protein intake may support weight management when combined with balanced nutrition and overall calorie awareness. Maintaining a healthy weight is an important factor in improving liver health over time. By establishing a protein-focused foundation early in the day, you create more stable metabolic signals, making it easier to follow consistent dietary habits that are related to long-term liver function in some research contexts and overall health. As you build a higher protein foundation to support metabolic stability, it is equally important to consider the quality of fats that provide your body with energy. The types of fats you choose can influence how your body stores and utilizes energy over time. Shifting toward fats derived from plant and marine sources may offer advantages for metabolic health. While excessive intake of saturated fats from processed meats and certain dairy products has been associated with increased liver fat, unsaturated fats appear to have a different effect. Monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats found in foods such as olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocados, and fatty fish provide essential fatty acids that support normal cellular function. Some clinical studies suggest that replacing saturated fats with unsaturated fats may help reduce further fat accumulation in the liver. In addition, diets higher in unsaturated fats have been associated with more favorable changes in body composition when compared under similar conditions. This may include better preservation of lean mass without negatively impacting liver fat levels. For individuals following lower carbohydrate or higher fat dietary patterns, the quality of fat becomes especially important. Choosing these sources can support metabolic balance and contribute to long-term liver health and overall resilience. While optimizing fat intake is important, it is equally necessary to consider how carbohydrates fit into your overall recovery strategy. The goal is not simply to eliminate carbohydrates, but to improve their quality and how they are consumed throughout the day. Severely restricting carbohydrates is often seen as a solution, but current evidence suggests that the type and source of carbohydrates may have a greater impact on metabolic health and long-term outcomes. Choosing carbohydrates with a lower glycemic impact can help support more stable blood sugar levels and reduce unnecessary metabolic fluctuations. Foods such as legumes, dairy, vegetables, and whole fruits provide carbohydrates that are digested more slowly, offering a steadier release of energy. This can reduce large fluctuations in blood glucose and may lessen metabolic stress on the liver over time while supporting better appetite control. In contrast, highly processed carbohydrates, including white bread, refined grains, many breakfast cereals, and fried potato products, are more rapidly absorbed and may contribute to unfavorable metabolic responses when consumed frequently and in large amounts. Replacing these refined options with minimally processed alternatives is a practical step. This approach helps maintain energy balance, supports more stable insulin responses, and creates conditions that are more favorable for long-term liver health. As you improve your carbohydrate choices and support more stable insulin levels, you create the conditions for one of the most impactful strategies in liver recovery, gradual and sustained weight loss. It is important to recognize that meaningful health improvements do not require reaching an ideal or extreme body weight. Even modest reductions can lead to measurable metabolic benefits over time and are often more sustainable in real-world settings. Clinical evidence suggests that losing approximately 5% of total body weight is associated with a reduction in liver fat levels. This degree of change can already support improvements in hepatic steatosis, the accumulation of fat within liver cells. For individuals with more advanced stages, a greater reduction, often around 7%, has been linked to improvements in markers associated with non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, or NASH. This condition involves inflammation and cellular stress within the liver and may progress if left unaddressed over time. Weight reduction achieved through consistent dietary and lifestyle changes can help lower overall inflammatory burden and support the liver's natural repair processes. By focusing on realistic percentage-based goals rather than rapid transformations, you create a more sustainable path forward while supporting long-term metabolic health. While nutritional strategies form a strong foundation for recovery, incorporating regular physical activity can further support improvements in metabolic health and liver function over time. Exercise works alongside dietary changes to enhance how your body uses, stores, and regulates energy more efficiently. A commonly recommended target is at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity each week. Activities such as brisk walking, cycling, or swimming can help improve insulin sensitivity and encourage the body to utilize stored energy more effectively during daily movement. In addition to aerobic exercise, including resistance training, at least 2 days per week can provide additional benefits. Strength-focused activities help maintain or increase muscle mass, which plays an important role in long-term metabolic regulation and energy balance. Combining these two forms of exercise may create a more balanced and sustainable approach to physical activity. This integrated strategy supports both energy expenditure and muscle function, which are essential for maintaining metabolic stability. When paired with consistent dietary improvements, regular movement may contribute to gradual improvements in metabolic markers. Establishing a routine that includes both aerobic and strength-based activities can be associated with liver health outcomes and reduce the risk of further progression. Targeted supplementation may also be considered as part of a broader strategy to support liver health, especially when combined with consistent dietary and lifestyle changes over time. Whole foods should remain the primary source of nutrients, but certain compounds have been studied for their potential metabolic benefits in clinical settings. Vitamin E has been explored in research where specific doses have been associated with improvements in markers related to liver inflammation in some individuals. However, supplementation requires caution, as higher doses may carry potential risks, making medical guidance important before use. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly those found in fish oil, have also been studied for their association with reduced liver fat and improvements in certain liver-related markers. These nutrients may be associated with metabolic balance in some studies when included appropriately and consistently. Choline is another important nutrient involved in fat metabolism within the liver. Adequate intake whether from foods such as eggs, lean meats, or certain vegetables, may help support normal liver function and overall metabolic processes in daily life. When these strategies are combined with sustainable lifestyle changes, they may contribute to gradual improvements in liver health and help reduce the risk of further progression over time. Thank you for watching. This content is for educational purposes only. If this changed how you think about nutrition, don't forget to like and subscribe for more science-based insights.